Welcome everybody to Photonic Health's Health Made Simple. This is a monthly interview that I do with people that I come across that have a higher mission in the world to make the better place healthier and happier, whether it's for humans or dogs or cats or horses. And that I have personally seen results with their techniques and their products or products that they've recommended and things like that. And so today, our very special guest is Donna Blem. Welcome, Donna. I'm so excited to have you.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Donna is a longtime client of Photonic Health. She owns the horse, that infamous scar picture of the horse's leg, the before and the after. And so Donna's been a longtime client of ours, but her and I really haven't gotten to get to know each other until she moved to our area just a couple of years ago. And since we both share the same namesake, you know, we kind of have a special fun little bond with that. And Donna has, I think, probably the most diverse, coolest background of anybody I have ever interviewed. And I love it because she brings a lot of expertise and knowledge. She is a horse trainer, and I don't know if I'm going to say that the right way. Horse trainer, she dressage person. I know she's ridden at Grand Prix level, and also she teaches people how to teach their horses stuff. And then also, I think probably one of the most coolest accomplishments is that she ran an organization called In Stride Therapy, and it was a therapeutic riding program down in Sarasota, Florida, and built that, if I'm not mistaken, Donna, you built that basically from nothing into...
Yeah, I started it when I was 23 and built it into one of the largest therapeutic riding centers in the United States.
Yeah, that's just, and we were so blessed that we got to teach a weekend class down there, and the facility is just drop dead beautiful, and the horses are amazing. And so you have all of this wealth of knowledge and this great background of horses, but today we're going to be talking about human health.
Yes.
And that also for those of you that don't know, that also happens to be one of my passions. I'm just fanatical about health and nutrition and eating healthy and things like that. And, you know, Brian and I have been on a journey. We're on an never-ending journey, right? And so back when COVID hit and we all went on lockdown, Brian and I connected up with a doctor, actually a group of doctors that had this whole detox program. And it was really expensive, y'all, like really expensive, but we really wanted to get, you know, like proper nutrition, proper health is all in the gut. And I'm sure you guys have heard that all over the place. And you also have heard, well, you know, eat a vegan diet because it's healthy, and eat a vegetarian diet because it's healthy. And then there's other, you know, the opposite end of the spectrum. And there's a lot of information out there that is just so confusing. And if it's not your passion, you could totally get overwhelmed by it. And you go, never mind, I'm just going to eat what I'm going to eat, and it'll be what it'll be. And that's kind of at the point that we were at, because we had been vegan for a couple years, and it didn't do well with us. Like, I love the concept of it because you guys know me. I am all about the animals and animal welfare and things like that. But at the end of the day, after 2 years, I ended up being pretty I don't want to say sick, but it was at the point where my iron levels were so dangerously low that if I didn't do something different, I was going to really be doing a lot of damage to my body. And so fast forward, we signed up for this eating program, and I don't remember the exact cost, but I can tell you guys, for us, like for the consultant and for the guidance, it was about $2,500. And that didn't include the supplements that we went on. And it was a lot of money. But we also learned a lot. And what is healthy for one person is not healthy for another person. And I'm going to just kind of give a little bit of a quick example. We ended up doing a food sensitivity test. And, you know, everybody's like, salad's healthy, right? Right? Salad, kale, like they're, you know, the whole kale, great, you know, it's a superfood. Guess what showed up on Brian's list of food sensitivities? Lettuce, kale, asparagus, cauliflower. There were over 20 things on the list that most of us, and that we had considered, oh, well, this is healthy. Like, so we were eating, you know, we were eating cauliflower rice, and we were eating, you know, cauliflower crust pizzas and things like that. Anyways, we went through this program, spent a lot of money. We got a lot healthier and we felt really great. And this was about a couple months into COVID, and when they finally kind of released us from lockdown a little bit. And I was chatting with Donna, and I hadn't seen her in a couple months. And she looked amazing and healthy. And then she started telling me about it's just kind of funny because it was kind of parallel, right? It was kind of a detox program, very similar, except that yours was about 10% of what mine cost. and so I was like, okay, I've got to know more. But before we get into that, Donna, do you want to maybe kind of go through a little bit about your background, and before you started, you know, your first round of this, and what really pivoted you to being on a journey of going down this path? Like, can you give us a little bit of background?
Yeah, so about 2 years ago, I had a health scare for the first time in my life that I was actually a bit scared. I had gotten mold poisoning, and it was pretty intense. I literally had pus coming out of my eyes. Doctors weren't really sure what to do or how to help me. Went to a bunch of different specialists, was on antibiotics for over 60 days, and had scans of my brain. I had an infection in the base of my brain, base of my skull. So we had to clean that out. So it was pretty intense. And it was just like, whoa, you know, it was this first time you were kind of paralyzed in life for me. But I got through that and kept moving forward, and everything was going okay. I got through an entire year, no problem. And then March of this year, I started getting similar symptoms, nowhere as severe as that, but I was like, oh God, here we go again. What's happening? I was starting to get sick, and it was right as COVID was hitting. So I was the very first teleconference appointment with my doctor, and it was a cluster because nobody knew what we were doing. Nobody knew how to do this technology and seeing people from their home. And so by the time it actually kind of got settled and we were screen to screen, it was about 45 minutes later, and he was just irate. His bedside manner was out the door, and he was just super irate, super short with me, put me on Mucinex. It was hard to get another doctor's appointment, continue Mucinex. Thankfully, I got his nurse's personal cell phone. I was like, I'm starting to get scared here. You know, here I go again. I'm getting sick again, and this Mucinex not covering it up. I'm coughing all the time. What's going on? So there was very little help. You couldn't really just go to the hospitals. We were on lockdown. And I said to myself, okay, you know, be responsible for yourself and just see what you can do. Don't rely on what's going on here. Because the whole thing's in chaos. So I just started doing some research, and I knew I wanted to do something kind of really strong and go in really committed. And actually a mutual friend of ours, Alex, posted on Facebook this little health party she was having. So I connected with her and we talked about it, and it was exactly what I needed. It was a 30-day detox program, and it just, I entered that really strong, knowing that I needed to make some changes. I needed to help my body get rid of whatever is going on. And within that 30 days, so many things happened in my health, my energy level, cleared up my sinuses, my decongestion, all that stuff to a huge amount. So I'm so thankful that I committed to the 30 days and I really followed the program. And in that, about 5 or 6 of my friends did it with me, and they all have equal results in their own ways. So it's been really a fun journey.
Yeah, that's so awesome. And I can say this, like, so, I'm pretty, well, I don't know Donna, but I'm pretty intuitive. And so, like, I would see you and I would sit and we'd have some business meetings and brainstorming meetings and whatnot. And I just kind of knew that you just weren't, but prior to this, you just were not,
I was exhausted.
Yeah, you just, and you could see it a little bit on your face, and allergies and things like that. I could just, and I can empathize because I was that way, for a couple years. And it's miserable, right? Because you're kind of in that limbo stage where you're not sick enough to be sick in the hospital needing care, but on the other end of the spectrum, you're not like jumping out of bed excited about life, and it just kind of drains you and wears you down.
Yeah, poor sleeping habits, waking up exhausted, fighting nightly afternoon naps, like everything, just exhausted is the best word to say it.
Yeah, and that's not good at all. So can you walk us a little bit through, because here's the thing for me, like, I'm definitely a self-starter, I'm a researcher, I'm not afraid to jump in and try anything, but at the end of the day, sometimes, when we start talking about like a detox program, or we talk, and I hate to use the word detox because it's kind of a clean up program. And it's getting your gut healthy. That's really what this program is about. I know that there's a lot of people, like, I tend to be the anomaly, whereas a lot of people don't necessarily need hand holding, but they kind of need a program. They not kind of need like a little bit of a, here's the instructions and here's what you do, and if you need some help, just, we're here to help you type thing. So and that's what you provided.
Yeah, so there's a great support system throughout the whole organization, through myself and others. There's Facebook groups that use to support you. There's all sorts of material that comes with it. What I loved about it, it was super simple. So I'm not a big cooker or prepper and stuff like that. So everything came in the package. Super easy to do. You make your beautiful shakes, you have a morning routine and get all the stuff in that you need to do. But then you were so there with lots of people to support you. So you and myself can answer the questions, or we have got a great Facebook group that we use twice a month that we can join and be with the same groups that do the cleanse together. So you're not alone in the journey.
Yeah. So that's a beautiful thing. And so, and I know, like, when we were all getting together, like it was the first get together after COVID, we all kind of got together, but we were all kind of following the same eating plan. So it kind of worked out really well. But aside from that, because there's lots of everybody, there's lots of detox programs out there. Brian and I went through ours. The thing that I was most impressed with was the fact that when we went through ours, like, I understood, the biggest thing was getting the gut straightened out. Because if you don't have your gut fixed, and if your gut's not functioning right, nothing else is going to work. You could take supplements until you're dead, and you might get some temporary relief, but it's not going to set you on the right path. And there's different ways of doing that. And, a lot of people, the media has done a great job of going probiotics. Well, there's a lot more to probiotics. It's also an eating program as well. Because if you're eating food, if you're eating something, so like Brian would, and I'm going to probably overshare here, but Brian's not on, or maybe he is, I don't know. But, like as an example, Brian would, something that would normally be super healthy, we were eating it because, we thought, well, we're being healthy. And so he would have it, and then he would end up with bloating, and he would end up with gas. And, a lot of people, because he's, in that 60 range, people are like, oh, well, that's just normal. And no, it's not normal. It is an absolute sign that your gut is not working, that your digestive enzymes are not working right, and things like that. So when you and I chatted, and I said, okay, because I've been, other people have approached me about the program, and I've kind of been like, no, I'm good. I'm going to do my own thing. And it really, or, like you said, Alex, well, and Alex is on here. She runs this for us. She's 30 something, early 30s, I'm going to say, super adorable, super healthy. And so she was on the program a couple years ago, and she's like, yeah, it's great. And I'm like, well, but you don't have any problems. So that's really not I can't relate to that. But then when I saw your basically before and after, I was like, oh, I need to look at this. And then when I started doing the comparison of what Brian and I went through versus this program, I was like, damn, this company knows what the heck they're doing. They have dialed it in, and they have made it super, super simple.
Which makes it so easy for me, because I'm not like you in that aspect. So to have a company that I know and I trust, and I know it's developed by a team of doctors, it's actually tested by Moffitt, it allows me to know what I'm getting is good. So it's fun to talk to you, because you can dig down way deeper and really analyze this stuff. And so I love that. But for me, I just needed it simple, clean, and the results prove themselves.
And they do. I have to say, like, you look amazing. I told you that when you walked in today, and it's like, oh my God, like, this is the best I've ever seen you look. And not just look, like, not just physical looks, but I can tell that you're feeling great, and you got more energy, and you can breathe, and those important things. So can you kind of like, because people get afraid of like eating plans. They're like, oh God, what am I going to have to give up? And what happens afterwards, and things like that. So can you kind of like just give us a little bit of what it looks like?
Sure. So it really can be individualized to anybody. So you can do the program as it is, and I'll talk about that. Or you can just simply add some of the really good, yummy greens, digestive enzymes, something into your routine that you have now. So if you're not ready to really commit and dive deep, my preference is dive deep 30 days out of your life to have no cravings. People that were on sodas every day are like, I don't even want a soda. So like, so many things can happen in these 30 days, and everybody's journey will be different. I've heard people get off of prednisone and daily puffers. I've heard people get off of some different medications just in this 30-day program, because you're really just cleaning out your system. But if you weren't really ready for that, there are some healthy options that you can just add into your routine. So the program itself, is that what the question was? I kind of went off track.
Yeah. What does it look like? Like what? Okay. Well, and we timed this for December because right now it's the holidays. Most of you don't live in Florida, so you guys are really on major lockdown at this moment in time. And I'm sure you're probably tired of eating pot pies, and that's a joke. But like, you're looking for something different. 2021 is just around the corner, January, and we always have goals, right? For January, we're going to get fit, we're going to get healthy, we're going to start eating better. And so now more than ever, it's an ideal time. And so we really wanted to bring you guys this information, because let's face it, like, I don't know that anybody has incurred less stress in 2020. I think everybody's stress levels have just kind of been raised exponentially. It's just a very, very interesting time. And it to say that we haven't been on the wildest roller coaster ride of our life this year, that's kind of the way that we've had some really great stuff, and then we go down that hill fast. And so stress is the number one thing that will send your body into commotion. And I talked about it a couple months ago with Dr. Frank when we talked about sympathetic mode versus parasympathetic mode. Sympathetic mode is fight or flight, and parasympathetic is rest and digest. Well, because of all of the stress that we've been under and that's been brought on by COVID, we have a higher tolerance level to stress, right? So our tolerance level goes up, but that doesn't mean, and so if somebody says, oh, do you feel stressed? You go, no, but if I check, you're not in parasympathetic mode, which means you are not resting and you are not digesting. And everything starts within the gut. If you're not digesting your nutrients, if you're not digesting things properly, no matter what you do, whether it's natural or Western medicine prescription, it's just a Band-Aid, and sooner or later that Band-Aid is going to fall off. And so we kind of thought this would be a really great time, because thank God January 2021 is right around the corner, and we can get started fresh. And I thought that this would be, I'm super excited about it. Let's get started fresh for 2021, and kind of undo some of the damage that the stress has done.
Yeah.
So, and that being said, there's, stress, fear, right? The unknown. So if you kind of can give us an overview of what the program, just an overview of what the program looks like, and what are people gonna, have to do or not do, and how easy is it gonna be? I think that, that would be really great.
Yeah, I found it to be one of the easiest things I did, because it kind of just came, here you go, this is what you do. So it is not a fasting diet. You don't ever have to be hungry or cleanse, whatever the best word is. You don't have to be hungry throughout these 30 days. If you are hungry, eat, but eat the right things. So I'll take you through kind of my routine that I set up with the program that I went through. I started my morning off with a detox tea. And a lot of times I put in the tea this thing, it's called a fizz stick, and we can go over that later. And it's filled with vitamins and minerals and all sorts of great things that you need. So that would be the first thing I'd have as I'd kind of get my day going. And then I would make myself my morning shake. And inside the shake, I'd add these amazing greens. So I don't eat enough vegetables and fruits. So that was all part of a nice serving of that. I'd add my digestive enzymes, which helps with our gut health, and a little bit of fiber. And then each shake, I just made it my own. So I got to play with lots of different things. I could add almond butter, I could add spinach or kale, or any sort of fruits, blueberries, strawberries, bananas. So you really can make your shake your own, and you wanted a healthy fat in each shake. So whether it was the almond butter, a flax seed, chia seed, or hemp seed, or whatever you wanted to add into your healthy fat for that shake. Avocado would also be a nice thing to add. And then I'd go about my day, and around lunchtime, I would have another shake. So for me, I actually wanted to shed some pounds while I did it. So I would have 2 shakes a day. There are people that do this that can't lose weight or don't want to lose weight. So they would have 1 shake and then 2 healthy meals and healthy snacks. So for me, I would have my lunch shake, which usually was a vanilla shake with chia seeds and strawberry, and it was like a strawberry milkshake, super yummy. And I'd have another fizz stick. And then if I was ever hungry, I'd have a green apple, have some celery or cucumbers or a little salad if I wanted. And at night, I'd have a lean and green meal. You can add some protein in if you want, as much vegan as we can, but you can have red meat once a week if you want. You can have chicken, you can have fish and stuff like that. So you're allowed to have any of those things. And then that would be my day. So it was pretty darn easy, and 30 days went super fast. I saw probably within the first week my energy level completely change.
Wow. That's huge.
Yeah.
That's absolutely huge. So like what, and you talked about that 5 or 6 other people went through it with you the first time. And I know that some of them have continued on. And so what have they seen? Like, what changes have they seen? Like, what's been most impactful for them?
Definitely energy level, cravings. I think about 15 people in this journey. So I started at the beginning of July. So about 15 people in my friends and family circle have done this journey with me. So they've all had a lot of different successes with it. Several had a lot of good weight loss. So even up to 15, 20 pounds.
Wow.
And then a lot of them just continue with the morning routine, keeping the fizz sticks going. So they'll keep part of it. And in the 30 days, there's a list of don't eats. So then you can either bring those back into your diet or just continue not eating them. So dairy, wheat, soy, some of those things. So there's a whole list of things that, are off your diet for those 30 days to allow your body to truly cleanse.
Yeah. So one of the things that, and I know a lot of people cringe because they're like, oh my gosh, no dairy, no wheat, no soy. And the gluten-free thing, it's kind of like people are like, I don't know about that. Or I could never give up bread, or I could never give up pasta, things like that. When I started, so when we went through our detox program, and what I discovered by doing a comparison of the two is most of us either have it's actually not a gluten sensitivity, it's actually a yeast sensitivity. And we typically have a yeast sensitivity because we have either a fungal overgrowth or we have like a yeast overgrowth. Now, I'm not talking about a yeast infection. It's kind of like that low grade thing. And mycotoxins, there's over 500 different mycotoxins that we're exposed to in our environment on a daily basis. And they also happen to be because we get, we kind of ingest them tiny bits at a time. It's kind of a cumulative effect if we don't get rid of that, right? And so the biggest thing, so a lot of people are like, I could never give up bread, I could never give up sugar, I could never give up my daily cookie. Well, the reason that is because you're feeding the yeast. You're feeding that yeast, the bad yeast and the bad bacteria in your stomach. So when we have those cravings, it's because that monster in there is saying, feed me. And it causes us to reach for the sugar and reach for that piece of bread. And that's why we don't think that we have enough self-discipline or self-control or, and I can tell you, and so when I really understood the program that Brian went through and then looked at the Arbonne, that when I looked through this program, it was like, oh my gosh, that's exactly what they're doing, is they're going after this first and getting the gut turned around, but still providing you the necessary nutrients. Because the other thing is that most people have leaky gut and they don't know it.
Yeah.
Most people just have chronic inflammation in the digestive tract or digestive system. and they just don't know it because they've lived with it for so long, and it's just a sign of aging. And and this 30-day program just kind of goes right after that. And it, it's like, nope, we're not going to feed the bad stuff. And we want to support you so that you can be strong enough, and we're going to provide the supplementation
I know.
so your body can take it out faster and have a really easy transition. Because when you try to do it on your own, I've done tons, hours upon hours of, I'm so stupid, ridiculously obsessed with this stuff.
I know.
And I've spent lots of hours researching it. And you can go to the medical doctor and go, hey, I want you to give me a prescription to eliminate yeast, but it's going to create something else.
Yeah.
And the body's going to go, the yeast and all of this and Candida is a generic name for it. It's a funny little critter because it, if you try to kill it like an antibiotic, if you try to take something like an antibiotic, it becomes very resistant, and then it gets very angry, and then you get side effects. So, and somebody that has severe Candida overgrowth might still experience a little bit if they're going on a program similar, like this, because they might not feel well for a couple days, or they might end up with going to the bathroom a little bit more often. And it's just your body cleansing everything out.
Yeah, and a few people have started it and kind of the first few days got a little scared or something. I was like, well, just cut back, cut in half. It's just telling you actually your body needs it even more.
Yeah.
So, if you did start it and something was going a little too fast in your gut and your stomach and that area, you might just want to cut back, but keep it going, because actually your body's telling you how much it needs it.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the biggest thing. And when Brian and I did it, we of course used our pain-free pad system to go along with it, because we understood that, hey, we're trying to heal the gut, we're trying to heal the digestive tract, and so we got to get the inflammation down. And so of course us lights, right? So lights are anti-inflammatory, and so that's what we did personally, in addition to the proper supplementation and things like that. So what questions do you find yourself answering the most when you're talking to people about, your experience and what you went through, and if they're interested in going through the 30-day I keep saying 30-day program, but the thing of it is we use the product. I use the products every day. Like I walked in the office with this today, and right. And And so we use the products every single day, just because we want to be healthy, and the nutritional panels on these things are unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. But what questions, what are the couple questions that you find yourself answering the most?
For sure is how the program works, which we kind of went through the daily routine. So that's definitely, what is it going to do? What kind of support do you get? And then what happens after those 30 days? What do I do then? And then we come up with a plan for that. I recommend keeping your morning routine and making sure you're getting those really digestive enzymes continuing to come into your body, those yummy greens that are so good for you. And then some people that still fight some things, like there's things that we can still help you with. And I think it was you, Donna, that says the detox tea is a lifesaver if you have allergies. And I was like, oh, so every time now that I unload hay or mow, I have a detox tea and I don't have any of the congestion that I did before. So I was like, oh, perfect. So I'm making sure that that stays a staple for me. So everybody's a little different of what their challenges are and what they're needing. The fizz sticks, especially in the summer, they just give you so much magnesium and potassium that it cuts the fatigue, especially if in the summer here in Florida. So those are some things that I would keep on hand all the time. stuff like that people are always interested in. And, it's kind of like anything you put in your body or on your body. Is it the cleanest that we can possibly do? Because everything is filled with stuff. When I Googled, true story, I Googled how many personal care ingredients are banned in the United States, and I Google it, and it's 13. But in Europe, it's 1,300.
Right.
So there's only 13 ingredients banned in things that we put on our skin and stuff like that. So can we just be as clean as possible to give ourselves the best
Correct.
health that we can give ourselves?
Correct. Absolutely. And you're right, Donna. And the thing that a lot of people don't realize is they're like, oh, I'm just going to go put some lotion on. And it's it's winter, right? Right now we're in the middle of winter. So a lot of people's skin's getting really dry. And so, the hand lotion, and especially, with COVID, because we're putting sanitizers on and we're washing our hands so much, the skin's getting dried out. And we're using hand lotion and we don't really look at the ingredients, and it's probably a good thing because, and I don't use hand lotion because our skin is the largest organ in our body. Our skin is our largest organ in our body, and anything that we get on it topically eventually goes inside. Yeah. And so it's super, like, for people just to understand that basic concept is really, really huge. Just be a little bit more aware and look at what your body lotion is made of. And if you can't read the ingredient word, don't put it on. I mean, it's just, and know what the ingredients are. And I know that there's apps out there today that, tell you how many toxins are in there and things like that. But if you put your lotion on every day, you might kind of want to take a look at it. If I use lotion, or if I need to use lotion or have dry skin, I usually just use straight up coconut oil or olive oil. And that's it. But, that's another thing is with our skin, right? So health starts, and it usually, you can tell somebody, just think about, like, when you go to the store, or say you walk into the doctor's office, and every face that you see in there, typically you can tell if somebody's by their skin, even though you don't zone in on it. It's usually, somebody's got a really red face, or they got maybe a red nose, or, or yellow or something like that. And so we have to be really nice to our skin.
Perfect.
Correct. Yes. So if you could provide our audience, like, say they don't want to go on the detox plan, or they don't want to, they're not interested in a 30-day plan, they don't have time for it, or it's just not the right time, but they do want to be healthier. What are 2 or 3 things that they could do and they could implement, like, today?
Yeah, for sure. So there are other options. So if you're not ready to go in for that 30 days, then, get the digestive enzymes, help getting your gut in order and keeping them clean. And even just being on those every day for the rest of your life is my plan, just to always give my body what it needs. The greens are a good one. Maybe coming up with a morning routine that you can really just get everything in. You get your protein, you get everything together, you get your shake, and then you always start the day knowing that you gave yourself a good start. So if that could be a good morning routine for people. Some may just want an afternoon something or a pick-me-up, and we have some different things that you can even mix together. There's this skin elixir that comes that's super yummy, and I actually mix that with a fizz stick and a Mind Health. And I was telling Donna earlier, that's the first time in 50 years I have fingernails, because I always had really brittle nails. And if they had any sort of chip in them, I would pick it off or bite it or whatever. And the last probably 45 days, I have got these super strong, healthy fingernails for the first time in all my life, actually. So, making that part of my daily routine, maybe that's something someone's interested in. So there's so many options that can be customized to what everybody's looking for. But even if you made 1 or 2 changes, that would make a healthier you.
Yay, right? That's really important. And, one of the things I do want to bring up, because I brought it up earlier, let's talk about digestive enzymes for a minute. Because like it's been being preached for, 10, 15 years. And so probably most of you have digestive enzymes at home. And I want to share with you guys my personal experience. We went on this detox plan, not through Donna, but through the doctor, the expensive one, and bought these super expensive digestive enzymes. And it was not even in a capsule, it was just powdered. And he's like, yes, 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 this is great, 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 right? And so we started on it. In about a weekend, he checked up, and I'm like, man, again, this is probably TMI, but hey, we're just talking health here. And, I want to share with you guys, so maybe my story can help you guys out. I'm like, God, every time I take the digestive enzyme, I just get really bloated and I get really gassy, and I'm not liking this at all. Like, this is not working. Brian is like off and running, right? And I am like, it's just, I don't feel good. And so I haven't been taking it. And he's like, oh, okay. And so he went back and he was doing some research, and then I was doing some research, and not all digestive enzymes are created equal. And you guys also know that because you've been told that. And we typically go, how many billion of whatever. Well, it actually has not so much to do with how many billion, but it has to do with the specific types of strains. And it ended up that I was having a reaction to the one type of strain that was in this very expensive bottle of digestive enzymes. And it was a pretty common one. It's in, because I had I've taken them before. My mom and dad are on digestive enzymes. And so I started finding out that, or you get a lot of people that go, hey, I've been on digestive enzymes and I didn't notice any difference. That's the other thing that I've heard a lot is didn't notice anything, so I quit taking them. Makes sense, right? This one, there's a couple strains out there that are used in the most common digestive enzymes, and people actually are sensitive to them. So they kind of are counterproductive. And so, Donna, I know that you and I had this conversation because I was like, ooh, because now I'm leery, and I'm like, I've got to read, because I'm not, probiotics aren't, even the cheap ones aren't that, they can be pretty pricey. And so I was like, God, I got to read the label, because I got to see what it is. And this particular company, like this particular product, like their digestive enzymes are like amazing. Like they're, it's not in there. They're super, super, I want to say allergen free, if that makes sense.
Yeah, super clean.
Super clean.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's, like that was really important to me. And so that's kind of how I dipped my toe in the water, because, like I'm super leery of everything. And so I'm like, okay, all right. And then I started doing kind of a cost comparison, and I was like actually blown away by the quality of the product, because they are vegan, cruelty-free products, and which is really important. And you can read every single word that's on the label. And like you said, they've got a team of doctors that have formulated this, and I was just absolutely blown away. Like, these people know what the heck they're doing.
They do.
And the beautiful thing of the 30-day program is it just makes it's a no-brainer. Like, you don't have to be a geek about this stuff, and you don't have to be a geek about reading labels and knowing what molybdenum is and what it does with the liver and how it processes toxins and things like that. And that's the cool thing that I loved about the program. And so despite the fact that we had already been through our own program, I went ahead and I bought it. Like, I was like, I want to experience these products for myself. And I've just been blown away by them.
Yeah.
I've been blown away. So
the more I use them and get to know them, the more excited I am about this company and the products, because of the quality and how it processes in my body and how I just feel. Lots of people have said your skin looks so different and stuff. It's because I'm healthier and I'm cleaner that my skin now even looks better.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Your skin looks
happy.
amazing. Like amazing.
Yeah.
Like really, really great. And it's not that it looked bad before, but you know, it was just kind of,
Yeah,
just
full of toxins.
a little toxic and whatnot.
For sure.
So, do you do any remote consultations for people that, you know, because you know, we're worldwide right now, and so I don't know exactly who's going to hear this, and you know, they're probably not sitting in Ocala, Florida.
Yeah, no problem. That's the beauty of Zoom and the internet and all this other stuff. But I definitely am on a mission. My whole life is about inspiring and supporting others. So this fits right in with that. So anytime anybody has any questions or thoughts or concerns that want to touch base with me, I'm more than happy to set up some time to talk and review and help in any way that I can. So, yeah.
So do you guys have any questions out there? Is there anything else you would like to add, Donna?
Oh, that I could go on for days. So I think we've covered some really key points. There's definitely way more to go over, but I think we've done enough to get people thinking.
So do you guys have any questions? Does anybody have any questions out there? I know I've kind of thrown a lot of, you know, we've kind of thrown a lot of information out there. And you guys know me, I could talk forever and a day. I'll share a little story. And so this is not something that we put on social media, but I'll let you guys in on it. So Brian and I came down with COVID on November 21st. Mm-hmm. And I'm grateful that we were as healthy as we were and as strong as we were, because it is not a fun thing to go through. So for anybody that, you know, is like, you know, it's real, folks. It's absolutely real. And if we, and so literally Brian was down for 3 days. And then he was up back and running, but running at about 50%. And I was down for 4 days and then back up and running at about 50%. And one of the hardest things was the running at 50%. You know, we're kind of used to running at 50, you know, we're used to like, okay, we're going to be sick and we're down for a couple of days. And then, you know, the next day we're kind of at 50. And then the next day we're kind of at 60 or 70. And then, you know, by the day 5 or 6, we're back up and running and ready to go. Not the case with this at all. And so I learned a lot, of course I learned a lot going through it. And one of the things that really helped me was the, I think it's called body cleanse.
Yeah.
And the beautiful thing was they recommended you heating water and putting it in warm water. And it had all, you know, it had all these amazing nutrients to help transport the debris out of your body. That's basically what it's designed to do, but with a really yummy flavor that tastes really good. And I walked in today with it, and I'm like, this is one of the primary things that got us from, you know, running at perpetual 50% to like shooting back to 100%. And we were back up at 100% in less than 2 weeks. And also with that, of course, because, you know, we do lights, you know, we had lights on us constantly for the days that we were down, and even afterwards, we're still, we use our lights every day. And the cool thing with it is that, with the lights, it's helping to detox, but sometimes our organs just can't keep up with all of that, especially when our body is being invaded by funguses and things like that. And so this body cleanse stuff, I said to Donna, they named it the wrong thing, because this stuff is the bomb. So one of my favorite things. So I've just seen such great results with the whole thing, the whole package, that I'm a firm believer in it. And it just makes life easier, because then I don't got to go researching everything on Amazon and, being a nutritionist.
Yeah.
So that's the cool part about it. So Donna, how, if people are interested in the program or want to learn more about the program, how do you want to work that? Would you like them to go through me first, or do you want them to go through you? How do we want to do that?
Yeah, if they want, they can send you an email, and then you and I can help them, or forward it to me, and I will be happy to help them and set up even a Zoom call if they want, or whatever makes the best. But I think they all have your email address, so that'll be easy.
Yeah. So we really, we haven't, hold on here. Maybe Alex will take care of it. Alex, you'll be able to if you could put my email in the chat, that would be great. But it's Donna@Photonic Health. I'll let you guys email me directly if you have any questions, because this really isn't a Photonic Health related thing. The company, and I am gonna say this, and this is just coming from my own personal experience and my own heart, so it's not meant to offend anybody, but I am an MLM failure. I'm an MLM failure. And I also said that to Donna when her and I first met and first got together. I'm like, I'm an MLM failure. I love MLM products. I have signed up for so many MLMs, and I love their products, and I'm the worst person in the world, because I just don't, I use the products and that's it. And I've been approached by this company before from other people, and I've just kind of, I don't want to say blown them off, but nah, I don't, I'm gonna, Brian's like, you're not allowed to sign up for any more MLMs. You're not gonna do it. It's Arbonne. I'm just gonna be really honest with you. It's Arbonne. Arbonne's out there. I think they're really, the way that I found out about them is they're really well known for their skincare line, their skincare, their makeup, and things like that, for their anti-aging line. And so I was kind of like, again. And Arbonne, Arbonne. We will send you guys out a link if you're interested. This is not meant to be to sign anybody up or anything like that. It was just an education on we kind of gave you a little bit about digestive enzymes and getting your stomach right, and where is your stress level at, and we've gone through that. So, and nutrition wise, and it is not a one size fits all program. That's the cool thing about it, is it's not a one size fits all program, and you can't feed Brian a kale salad and me a kale salad and expect the same outcome. It's just not going to happen. And the science that is behind all of the Arbonne products are so incredibly impressive. And again, I was blown away, because we had spent over $2,500 on our program, and Arbonne was 10% of that, and we still do it every day. Our morning routine is we buy plain yogurt, and we have yogurt, and then I just take the Arbonne powder, protein powder, like a half of a scoop or one scoop of it, and I just stir it right in, and then I've got a healthy yogurt. Like that's not full of sugars and full of artificial whatever. And I'm getting all of those great nutrients that they pack in their protein powder.
Yeah, and I think I agree. It's just the more you get used to it, the program and everything that they sell. My sister has eczema on her head and her neck a little bit. And it's just so exciting to hear, like after decades, she's been using the Arbonne shampoo and conditioner and she doesn't have any signs of that. So, you know, even though she was paying really expensive salon quality stuff, it still had some sort of toxins or something in it. So it's really about just being, how clean can we really be? And how sustainable can we be as a planet? So that's another thing that Arbonne does really well, is everything is recyclable and or reusable, so that there's that aspect of them also. But so whatever we put in our skin or on our body or in our body, you know, can we really be responsible for the outcome of it? It really is our choices and stuff. So just making healthier choices. I think we do it, for me, I've always done it really well for my dog and my horses and my animals, but I just hadn't ever really taken the time for me. I was always too busy or had too much to do or was taking care of this person or that person. So to really put that time and effort and energy into myself, and boy, what a difference, because now I'm actually more present for my animals and more excited to be with them and around them versus drained and tired.
Right, exactly. I agree 100%. And, you know, we could go on for days, like with, you know, like you talked about the shampoo and conditioner. Well, I've been using a really great shampoo and conditioner for several years because it is basically toxin free. And just went and got my hair done on Tuesday. And my hairdresser's like, what did you change? Because you have new hair growth. And I was like, well, I changed my shampoo about 2 months ago, which is like right, you know, last time I got my hair done. And she goes, at first I thought it was breakage. She goes, but this is new hair growth. And I switched over to their shampoo, to be really honest with you, because it was cheaper than what I was using. Like, I was like, wait a minute, I can save myself like, you know, $15 a bottle of shampoo because this is like less expensive. And so I was actually super excited when my hairdresser was like, yeah, you've got new hair growth. So I was we could go on for days, right? So no, Monet, sorry. Yeah. So if you guys don't have any further questions, what we will do is we will send out a recording of this. Give us a couple days and we'll put the link in there. So if you guys if you want to go take a look at the products directly, that's great. And if you want to take a look at it and then follow up with any questions, Donna or I are here to help you and here to help you through. And if you guys decide you want to go through and do a 30-day program, I've got tons of recipes on how to make it super simple and taste yummy and delicious. So I think that's one of the big things, is people are afraid that it's not going to be good or they're not going to feel satisfied. And I've got recipe for days on all of that stuff. So Donna, thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone.
Yes. And if you want a consultation, if you just want to chat about it, like there is no fee for a consultation. Like that's not what that's not what we're about. We're just about sharing our personal experiences and helping you guys, like helping you through, you know, this step of the journey. So, you know, if you want to, you know, just drop me an email, and if you would prefer talking to Donna Blem, I'm happy to do that. Like, you're not going to hurt my feelings. Whatever works best for you guys. Like, we just want you to be healthy, and we want you to be happy, and we want you to be strong, so that you guys can go out and be the bright, shining lights that you are. And wishing you guys all the very best for the holiday season. and a super happy, healthy, and prosperous 2021. So, Donna, thank you
so much.
thank you for joining us.
Anytime. Thank you.